In this video, I'm going to be looking at how this particular channel could make more money from the products that it is selling currently. And this is a series that I'm doing, and these are just case studies. I make these videos so that all of you can take this knowledge and make more money. So I look at the channel and how they could make more money, and I add everything as I go through. So when I was looking at this, I added all of my observations in here, so that way you can see how I look at all of this and how I see what changes need to be made in order to make more money. Another thing I'd like to mention is that I will also advocate for Skool.com, simply because it is, in my opinion, the best platform. So if you're planning on selling an info product, you definitely should do it on Skool. I think all of these other platforms really don't do as good as a job as Skool does at helping you with your info product. So I will primarily advocate for Skool inside of this video. So first, let's look at the channel. And the first thing that you can see is that the channel is very active. Still got a lot of engagement. These are all things that are very good to see. Now the first thing I would do, if any changes have to be made on the content, is that I would focus on specifically the content that performs well. And the content that happens to perform well on this channel is the more tutorial or help style videos, in contrast to some of the vlogs. So you can see here everything I wish I knew when I started painting, other videos which are more tutorial style, and they do a lot better than these more vlog style videos. Now this person is selling an info product and he is selling his paintings, so I took a look at his videos, at his description, to see what can be changed so that he can make more money. And so the first thing I saw was that this video has no pitch inside. So I went through the video and I saw there's no pitch, so there's really no way for his customers to know that he is selling something. Now maybe he's pitching his products in other videos, that's possible, but in general, if I click a video, I should see a pitch if you want to get successful with selling. And so this is the description. Now this is his main offer, I'm assuming, which is his Patreon. I'll get more into detail on that later, but this should be the first link. The second link is, I think, an affiliate link. That should be the second link because the main offer should always be the first link in your description. Then these other two links are broken, so these direct to his site. Both of these links are broken. So when you post content, when you have a description, make sure that all the links you have inside of your description are up to date so that people actually go somewhere when they click them. Then let's look at his description for his channel. The first thing I noticed was that there are too much links inside of here. So what I would do is I would take a Skool link. Of course, that would mean that his Patreon would become Skool, change the offer, but either keep it Patreon or transfer all of your info product knowledge to Skool. Have that in there as the first link, and then add all of these other links in the link tree, just to make it so that people are pointed towards your main offer and so that they can see what you're really selling. Then the first thing I want to look at is his website. So as I went onto the website, there were a couple of things I noticed. And so I was coming at this from the perspective of somebody wanting to buy a painting from him. And then I noticed that there was no offer. So I went through the site and there really wasn't a funnel inside of his site that I could follow to actually end up buying a product. And so I figured this was just a personal brand site, like how certain people use sites to make others aware about their brand. But it turns out that he does actually sell paintings on the site. I just had to actively look for them. The first thing that I want to say in regards to me looking for that is that I saw learn more. I think you should change this call to action to view artwork or buy now. All these, this is just so that he can increase the conversion rate. Now I wanted to buy the monkey painting, or at least I put myself in the position as a client who wanted to buy a painting from him. So I want to ask you a question. How many clicks did it take until I finally got on this page? I'll tell you right now that for a channel to buy a Skool product, if it's set up in the right way, it should be about 2 to 3 links. For an e-commerce business, so directing somebody from a channel to a product that you're selling on the website, should be around 3 to 5 links. Well, it took me 9 clicks in total. It took me 9 clicks to get to this page. So I went from his channel to his channel description, onto his site, then I clicked the first link on the site, the second link, the third link, the fourth link, and then finally I was on the sales page and I could finally add this product to my cart. So that is definitely something where there's way too much friction for a customer to buy, making it so there's less links that have to be clicked and making it so that it's very obvious to potential customers where they can buy and how they can buy. That would increase his conversion rate by a lot. And so the next thing I want to look at is his Patreon. So as I mentioned before, he is selling an info product at the moment, and we're going to be looking at that. The first thing we're going to be looking at is his offer. Now these are all one-time purchase offers. And honestly, looking at all of this, if I wanted to learn how to paint, and if I wanted to buy a product to get there, I would buy his product. That is the good stuff. So there's lots of content that's very good in my opinion. There's lots that his customers can buy. And if I really wanted to, then I would absolutely buy from this person. The downside is that there are too many offers. Just you have to go through this. There's 5 offers here, then there's more stuff here. It's very unorganized. It's very unattractive, and I know that could be because it's Patreon, but none of this makes me want to buy. So that is the first note that I'm going to give. Then let's look at his tier-based system. So this is his subscription-based system. I would remove these two simply because this is just a supporter tier, so you're just giving money, not really getting anything in return, which is not something I would recommend if you're already selling a main product like the community. Then there's the learner. So this, in my opinion, is more something you give to fans and maybe to some people who want to learn, but the people who actually want to learn will be inside of this tier. And the first thing that I noticed is what he writes in his tier here. So when I figure out the technology, I will also be live streaming Q&A sessions that this tier has exclusive access to. I hope to see you there. So I'll just say this, Patreon is pretty bad for if you're selling an info product, simply because it is hard to learn, especially if you didn't really grow up with this stuff. So it is harder to learn, while Skool is pretty much no effort for anybody to learn the basics on. And what I want to say to this is that I could probably teach my grandma to live stream on Skool, and that's not because I'm a great teacher or my grandma is that smart. No, it's because it's so simple to get a live stream started on Skool. And this is something I would say to Studio Wildlife too. I could teach you how to live stream on Skool in 5 minutes, and I assure you that it's so simple that you will never need my help with this live streaming on Skool again. After I just explain it to you once, you will fully understand it and you will be able to do it for the rest of your life. That is how simple Skool is. Now next, let's look at the actual offer. I want to say this is an amazing offer. You can take the time to read over all of this if you want, but this, in my opinion, is absolutely a great offer, simply because you're getting so much support, and I assume that it's really going to help a lot of people in mastering their painting skills. I would also say that this person should charge more, since you are giving a lot of your time away to the people who are inside. Something that's not clear to me is the amount of live calls. So how many live calls are you giving? I know that you're probably not giving them right now. And how many videos are in your Patreon product? What are people really getting when they buy from you? Because at glance it looks good, but you really need to be more specific with what you are selling. And then I also see that this person has Discord connected to his Patreon. I get the idea of wanting a community, but if you really want a real community, then Discord is very bad for that. I really suggest Skool because it's built in and you keep people on the same platform and they can see what others have posted, and you really have a great way to build a community on Skool. It's so different. So yeah, I definitely suggest taking it over to Skool. Again, Discord is hard to learn, especially if you are older, which I'm assuming most of his audience didn't grow up with this technology. That's why it's pretty hard to learn for them compared to Skool. So if you get them on Skool, it will be so much easier for them to engage in the community that you have inside of your product. What I would do, I would take the last offer, so this community offer, I would add all of the one-time courses, I would add it to Skool, and I would increase the price to $39 a month. And honestly, this could go up higher. You can make this 60 or 70 and it would still sell. Then I would transfer all the members to Skool using timing systems. Now I'm not going to get too into detail on that, but that's how you transfer them. Then you want to make sure that the existing members that get transferred pay the original price that they were paying, which is the $17.50. The next thing I would do is make the product goal oriented. So I'd have the main offer be something like learn how to paint like me, learn how to make detailed paintings, or full guide to becoming a master painter. Then I would specify the offer. So make the exclusives behind the scenes content a bonus. Something else he could do is give away paintings to the most engaged Skool members at the end of the month. If you know Skool, then you know how leaderboards work. If you don't, then maybe you can look it up. That will explain what I mean by this. And this gets your engagement up, which gets your organic ranking up. So that's very good. And then doing events, I'll add a link to the events video in the description. This could also scale his business massively. So implementing the things I say inside of that video could make it so that he makes a lot more money. And then the final thing I'd say to that is that yes, tiers could be used, but the implementation depends on the circumstances after the launch. So what I mean by that is, let's say that he was my client and we decided to work together and we launch with just a simple offer, which is just same as here, only with these changes. Then after the launch, I would take a look at what's happening in these certain areas of the product. Where's the engagement? What do people want more of? What do people want less of? And how things are really going. So I really have to look at all the circumstances to see if those tiers will make a difference. Then let's look at the final part, and that is my summary. So this is a summary of this entire video. So what he does well, the content is absolutely amazing. The product is also top tier, so he has both of those things down. Where he could improve, I'd say it's definitely the business sides, getting those leads, then converting those leads, and just the offer structure in general. And in my opinion, this is the exact type of client I look for as an operator. Because what I do is I help content creators who are trying to sell an info product, to help them scale, help them make more money, and I really take care of all the back-end stuff. I take care of the business stuff so that they can focus on providing that value to their customer. And so this is the exact type of client I am looking for, where I believe that if this person were to improve on these skills, or if this person were to get an operator, somebody who does the same thing as me, then I believe that this person could be making so much more money. From my calculations, this person is making between $6,000 and $80,000 a month from Patreon. Of course, I can't see what people are in which tiers, but that is just an estimate. Now, with the right systems, I believe he could scale to $100 or $2,000 a month. And I know that's a big claim, but looking at the amount of money that he's already making, that really isn't that big of a claim for me to make. So that's it for this video. If this video was helpful, then like and subscribe. And if you're a content creator and you want me to help you in creating and scaling an info product, or you just want to know why I make these videos, and click the first link in the description.